This is The Spot, a BYU-Idaho radio production where we talk about what you're talking about at BYU-Idaho. Today's hosts are me, Christian Nelson,
Chandler Guadagnine,
and Brianna Leal,
with special guest Anna Dorney, the Fit for Life coordinator at BYU-Idaho. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the hosts.
I'll start with the first question, which is, what's a good workout for a beginner?
Yeah, so my biggest thing is the best workout for anyone is a workout you like to do. So there's campus is really cool because they offer so many classes. So you can do Zumba, yoga, all of the above, or you can jump right into the gym. They also have so many equipment, facility type of things. So there's swimming that you can do by yourself. You can run on the track, indoor or outdoor, so it doesn't matter the weather. But for me specifically, I say you can never go wrong with building a little bit of muscle, mostly to help you with whatever sport or whatever class you do want to take. And so for the best beginner workout, I say get in that gym and then just get acquainted with the gym. And so that you know where everything's at. There's a lot of machines. And so just even going around the machines in a circle, if you're super lost, is really, really helpful because you'll just you'll end up working each muscle group out. So that works really well. But the best thing to do is I usually, if I'm only going to hit the gym 2 or 3 times a week, I'd usually do full body for each of those sessions. And reason is because you want to hit the muscle groups as many times as possible to see a lot of progress, whether that's strength or hypertrophy or anything like that. And hypertrophy is just muscle building or muscle size. And so if you're wanting to see improvements like that, I'd hit those muscle groups as much as possible. And then because we're not only focused just on muscle, I would definitely encourage cardiovascular fitness as well. So I after your weight training workout, I would hop on the treadmill and incline walk. If you want to make it fun, you can even throw on a weighted vest because they offer those at the facility. Throw on a weighted vest and incline walk for even 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And I can assure you by the time you take off that weighted vest, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to feel so light. You're going to feel so awesome. You're going to feel strong. So those are my recommendations to get into it. I am going to plug the Fit for Life program. So on the great thing about the Fit for Life program is in the gym, in the BYU-I Fitness Center, we have coaches and trainers just hanging out there. And so you don't even have to sign up for the program if you don't want to. If you're man, I need a workout and I don't know where to start, or even if you're at advanced, doesn't matter where you're at in your fitness journey, you can always run up to the trainers at the table and say, hey, can you run me through a workout? And they are more than happy to just push you through a workout after they check with your goals or injuries or anything like that. So that's what I would recommend if I was a beginner trying to get into the gym or get into fitness, is find something you like and then also build a little bit of muscle to support that. So
very cool. That's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you.
So how much is Fit for Life?
So Fit for Life is $35 for the whole semester. So it's usually about 3 months, and you get a fitness trainer and a wellness coach, which is really cool. You'll never find a price like that anywhere else. You get as many times consultations as you want with your fitness trainer and wellness coach. And with your fitness trainer, they will create you a program on this app called Trainerize. And so they can communicate with you almost 24/7. And then your workouts are all posted to Trainerize. So you can meet with your trainer to push you through that workout. Or if you're I feel confident in this workout, you can just do it by yourself as well. So you have that communication there. And then your wellness coach, you can meet with them as many times as you want, and you basically set goals with them. So financial, spiritual goals, any health goals. They can also help with a little bit of nutrition advice in there. And so that's really cool too, because they can help with the wellness side of things, and your trainer helps with more of the physical side of the things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's super cool. Do they cover, so you said financial goals even?
Yeah. So it's the 8 or 9 pillars of wellness. So any of the wellness goals that you need, and those are just a few of them, they're more than happy to set goals with you with that. So a lot of times we do find a lot of students are oh, I could use some financial education, and they can create lesson plans for you to help educate you on each of those areas of wellness and then set goals past that.
That's super cool. So I've done Fit for Life before. I did it it's been almost a year. I do want to do it again though, because it seems it's a little bit more now. That's super cool. I know one of the things that so I go to the gym pretty regularly, but one of the things I've always not necessarily struggled with, but I've always found hard to do is you're dieting. And I don't want to call it like dieting because I think there's kind of there's a certain perspective with that word, that dieting is like restricting what you can and can't eat, like in like sometimes unhealthy way, for the sake of like your physical appearance. But like, do you guys offer like a nutrition plan?
So one of the things that like we cannot offer is a meal plan specifically. So that's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We can't offer that. Only dietitians can. We do have a dietitian in the wellness center. But you can meet with her upon appointment. Whereas with your wellness coach, what they would basically do is help you find your calories and your macros, and then give you like meal ideas so that you can meet those macros, those macronutrients, which is like carbs, fats, and protein. Those are just your main ones. So they can have like recommendation like, oh, here's a few ideas for a meal that you can meet those macros. But other than that, we can't say like, oh, eat this for breakfast or eat this for lunch and eat that for dinner. So like we kind of guide your like way of eating, which we actually found is really, really useful to a lot of people because it allows for flexibility for them wherever their finances are, so they can do that. But it also allows them to grow, and that's the point of the program Fit for Life, is we want to give you the tools now so that you can be fit for the rest of your life. So just however we can help with that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's super cool.
Okay, cool.
And then also, so like I said, I go to the gym, but for me, I feel like sometimes it's hard to push through the workout, or I feel like I'm plateauing in my workout. And I'm just not seeing the progress that I want. Like, do you have any like good advice for people struggling with that?
Yeah, so I have a few. So in my own training for a while, I actually found that. So what my training journey looked like was I was a runner for a long time, and I did it in high school. I wasn't very good. I was pretty slow, but that's okay. I liked it. So I was a runner, and then I actually found my husband, and we got married, and he was a big weightlifter. So he actually introduced me to weightlifting. And so I was kind of like a typical gym bro, like for a good 2 years. And then after that, that's how I kind of got into this entire major and just like getting really hard into it. And now I have slowly turned to running and lifting. So I do running and lifting, and I'm actually training for a 70.3 Ironman right now. And so I'm actually incorporating biking and swimming into all of my training as well too. So it's been kind of crazy. But through all of that, I've learned that because I've been able to explore these different avenues of sports, I miss what I love the most. And what I love the most is honestly running. Like, I love it. And so I think it's really interesting when a lot of people come up to me and they're like, I'm like kind of bored in the gym, which like it happens because a lot of like your workouts should be progressive, which means you're doing a lot of the same stuff. Like you're repeating a lot of the same stuff. And so I usually tell them to find like something that can complement their gym, or their gym complements their other sport, so that they learn to miss that other thing. So like for you in that case, if like, I know you're probably like not wanting to run or anything, or I don't even know, but if you're like, okay, like maybe I'll like incorporate some cardiovascular fitness and I'm going to choose running, and you start like running in place of one of your workouts, then you're more likely to miss your weightlifting workouts. So that's what I usually do. And that's why it's so popular right now to hybrid train. Have you heard of that like huge popularity thing right now?
No. What's hybrid training?
So hybrid training is basically you're doing multiple sports at once. So like a lot of people, it's very popular to be running and weightlifting. They call that hybrid training. Any triathlete is a hybrid trainer because they're usually doing 3 sports in one. So just like multiple sports in one. So I even know some weightlifters who are yogis and they do both. And so that's what hybrid training is. And it's like super popular right now. And it's just like taking over the fitness industry. So that's like one of the things I would do is like try that. And my second option is I would hire a coach.
Yeah.
And I know it's so tough, mostly because you probably know what you're doing in the gym. And so like
a little bit. I
mean, you
like,
seem like you do.
Thanks.
There
Yeah.
you go. So I would hire a coach because what they can see what like sometimes you can't. And so if you feel like you're plateauing, usually like they might pull you on a deload and then crank it back up. Does that make sense? And so they can see kind of those other things, and then they can also bring in new ideas to you that you might not have had or experienced before. And a lot of the coaches, at least for like the Fit for Life program, crazy, like diversity in each of their niches. And so that's really cool too, to be like, oh, like I might want to explore powerlifting, or, I want to keep going with my hypertrophy, but like I'm plateauing right now. I'd hire that coach and kind of like see where they can get you. And it's also a good accountability partner as well, with you being like, man, this workout just like wasn't it. And then they can like dissect why maybe that workout wasn't working out for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I love how you're giving all of these examples of how if you are bored with these activities, workouts, if you are bored with these, on how you can better your experience through fitness coaches and other resources like that. But what advice would you give to the listeners about if they have a hard time sticking to schedules, especially because of probably because just like my life, it's chaotic with a lot of events that happen.
Yeah.
What would be your advice for sticking to a workout schedule?
So I think right now it's super popular in the fitness industry to say diligence over motivation. Have you guys heard that before?
No, but I understand. So, yeah.
So like, or like discipline over motivation. It's like one of the two. So like, I actually like disagree with that. And that's like kind of controversial, like mostly for like society right now. Cause like everyone's so much like, oh, you just need to develop diligence and you'll be fine. Which I think motivation is a tool that we can use to get us going, to get us moving. And we can also feed our motivation as well. I just don't think a lot of people know how to feed their motivation. And so that's why everyone's like, oh, it's only diligence. Cause no one wants to take the time to learn how to feed their own motivation. So with schedule, well, I would first, I'd ask myself, like, is this a priority? And if it's not, how can I make it a priority? And like, that's might not be what you think is like, okay, like I need to take the gym and weightlifting and I need to be like, this is my priority. Like I have to make it my priority. But like, if you don't like it, you're not going to make it a priority. Like that's just like the reality of the situation. And so like maybe like what your fitness routine you're doing right now isn't necessarily like what truly speaks to you. And so like maybe that take it this time to explore other things to find something that like you're really actually passionate about, and then you'll make it a priority in your schedule. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So essentially, if you really love swimming, maybe you can do any like swimming activities.
Yeah. So like, and even on campus, I know that they have water aerobics, and then they have swim team during the winters. So that's really fun too. And then I even know like, if you need you just want someone to swim with, you can even just like come chat with us in the wellness center. And I know 4 people who swim that would love to swim as a group all together. So like there's so many opportunities. And then the same thing goes for like running and weightlifting. You need like just a friend, like come to the wellness center and be like, I just want like a buddy to lift with. And I can guarantee at least 5 coaches will be like, I am so there, because we love like taking in that environment. And that's again like another accountability partner, so that like when your schedule is busy, you're like, okay, what can leave? Like maybe the gym isn't one of the things that like you want to leave, but it's easier to leave. But when you have that accountability partner in there, you're like, I can't like take that out of my schedule type of thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. And does that answer your question?
Yes, it absolutely does.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
This kind of reminds me, we did an episode on hobbies a couple weeks ago. And some of the stuff kind of reminds me of the hobby stuff a little bit, where it's like, it's kind of an opportunity to meet new people who have this similar interest of building their bodies up and like getting healthier and stuff like that.
Well, and we're such social creatures. And so like I feel like sometimes when we're just like, oh, we got to do this for our physical health and we have no support system in place at all, like that's the first thing to like disappear. And so creating that social environment like helps so much. So yeah, I agree.
So I guess what does your pre-workout routine and post-workout routine look like?
So my pre and post is probably going to look most different than like the majority of people. But like
really quickly, do you take pre-workout?
No. Yeah, so and there's a few reasons for that. And I know like everyone each their own. So like totally do what you feel like good. Cuz I know some people like a pre-workout ritual is like a thing like that gets them in the zone. And so like taking pre-workout is part of that. I tend to go more towards like holistic style of eating and like supplementing because I want longevity. And the processed protein powders in the pre-workouts aren't like, they don't like work out well with my body. And so I actually don't do any caffeine or anything like that. It spikes my heart rate a little too much. And gives me like anxiety. And so if you do have trouble sleeping at night and you've noticed like the only thing that you've changed is pre-workout or caffeine, like, don't know, maybe get rid of that. So each to their own. So my pre-workout routine, or my pre-workout ritual that some people might say is, so I actually, depending on how, like, if I have a workout first thing in the morning, I always eat. And the thing that so I'm an endurance athlete right now. And the number one thing that I need to make sure that I'm eating enough of is carbs. Like, I need to be like eating tons of carbs. So I usually make sure, like, if it's an hour before my workout, I'm like usually eating like 1 gram per kilogram. And so that's anywhere from like 60 to 80 like grams of carbs. And so I'm eating a ton of carbs. I never ever do my workouts fasted ever. Just my performance will just decrease, and I'm just not a big fan of that. So I'm usually eating a lot, and then I just get everything together. And like being a triathlete, like, takes some time to get my stuff together. Like, you have your bike and your cleats and like just all the stuff that you need to get ready, and like the spot you're gonna go to and how far you're gonna go. You gotta get like mentally in the zone. So I usually like turn on some, like, I'm really into the genre funk. Have you guys heard of that before?
Yeah.
I have, yeah.
Oh, really? Do you
Yeah.
like it?
I think it's very interesting. I love exploring those. So
It's okay. It's not for everyone, but
I love exploring.
I really like funk, and it like gets me into the zone. So I usually like crank that bad boy, like eat food, get my stuff together, and then I usually do a warm up if it's a longer ride. So if it's like closer to like a 60-mile ride, I'm kind of bad at this, but I usually just start riding because I figured I'll warm up in the first few miles anyway. Or if it's a longer run, like an hour and a half run, I usually just warm up in the first few miles, which, I mean, each their own. But yeah, so that's like pre. And then my post routine, I usually just like, when I get back, I usually hop into the ice bath right away. So like I'm a big advocate for that, but I only ice bath, or I should like say disclaimer, an ice bath is only going to work for you if you're sleeping enough. So like I use ice bath for recovery, and usually for endurance athletes, you like ice bath as soon as possible after your workout so you can recover for the next one as soon as possible. But if you're not sleeping enough, that's like, sleep is your number one recovery. If you're not sleeping and eating enough, then like ice bathing's not going to do a whole ton. If I was like looking into hypertrophy or like weightlifting gains, I'd probably wait on the ice bath, because that can actually, like, there's studies that show that can like actually like decrease like muscle gains or like muscle hypertrophy. So I would just like wait at least 4 hours and then ice bath. But I like being really recovered and like feeling fresh each day. So usually ice bath, and then I usually like I eat carbs again, tons of carbs. And so like I do that right away, and then I stretch and roll. So like I've struggled with IT band syndrome for like the past like year, I swear. And so I've had to like be on.
Sorry, what's IT band syndrome?
So IT band syndrome is like your IT band is basically rubbing against like the bone or the bursa or like the fluid on your knee. Yeah.
Oh.
And so it
Ouch.
basically feels like someone is like taking or like shooting an arrow right through the side of your knee. So whenever you like bend or like extend your leg, flex or extend, you feel that sharp pain. So it feels like someone's like stabbing the side of your knee. So it like is not a joyful feeling. And so usually the time there's multiple reasons that can be happening. And in my case, like my vastus lateralis, so my quad muscle on the outside of the knee is just a little hypertrophied, I guess you could say. And so that caused a lot of like rubbing on it. So it just hurt really bad. So I had to like really make sure that like I was on top of my rolling and stretching. Your IT band is also connected to a muscle called your TFL, tensor fasciae latae. And so, and that's up in your hip. And so what a lot of people don't realize is like, oh, I want to loosen my IT band. So they'll roll the IT band, but that's not going to loosen the IT band. So you actually have to roll up in your hip to get any kind of like, I guess like stretch in that. Like I'm trying to think of the correct terminology for that. So yeah. So I had struggled with that. So rolling and stretching have been my best friends. And I am like, yes, roll and stretch always. So
yeah, and then you talked a little bit about the ice bath. What is that used for?
yeah. So like I said, it's used for recovery. And I know that like most of like the college students on campus like don't really have access to ice bath or whatever. So you can always do like a cold shower. So just like turn that shower on cold as much as possible. And then I usually stay in to just like shock my body. So right to the point where like I'm about to shiver. And it usually only takes like tops 5 minutes. So like if it's cold enough, then like it can even take you 2 minutes. And then sometimes if it's warmer, it can take you up to like 10 minutes. But I like to try and keep things on the colder side because I just don't like to be in there for a long amount of time.
Oh, yeah.
So, no, yeah. But it's really helped with mental training as well. So I like endurance sports is a lot is mental. And I also feel like our life is like we're mentally like enduring through life. And so ice bathing is also another way for me to like, I guess you can call it meditating, but like kind of getting in the zone and like understanding that my body can do hard things. And that's like training for like my race, like acknowledging like I can do hard things and I do them consistently. That makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. And there's so many benefits to getting into fitness. Like you don't have to be like a I don't know if you know, like Sam Sulik or,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, you don't have to, you know, some people, that's how they view working out,
Yeah.
right? They think of Arnold, they think of, you know, Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
They think of these
Sebum,
huge
like-
guys,
Yeah.
right? Who are, you know, they're awesome. Like that's crazy that they can do that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to do that, you know? Like there's so many different levels and goals and like places you can be in your life and still just have a casual investment in your health, right? You know,
Yeah.
here and there. So
And like honestly, imposter syndrome is such a big thing. And I feel like a lot of people feel that. And like for those of you that don't know, imposter syndrome is just like, I mean, correct me on the definition, but like feeling like you don't belong almost. And so like a lot of people feel that in the gym. They're like, I don't belong. I don't know why I'm here. And I think it's so fascinating because like even at my years of like fitness, like I still feel imposter syndrome as well. And like I look at these, like I've gotten into triathlons and like I look at these triathletes and I'm like, wow, they're so fast. Like they're way quicker on the bike than me, like all this stuff. And like there's always going to be someone better than you. Like that's just the world we live in. And so like taking away that comparison is like so important and just like meeting yourself where you're at. And that's what's going to help you grow for sure. And so just like being there because you know like that's what you either like or what you should be doing is really awesome. And again, that community helps a lot too. So with all that.
Yeah, so if they ever do feel imposter syndrome, then I guess the advice you would give is just for them to go up to one of the coordinators and, you know, I guess you can ask for a friend.
Yeah,
And
you can always
they
ask
can
for a
hang
friend at the
out.
wellness center. Yeah, come hang out with me. Do I belong here? And we will tell you 100% of the time that you do belong here. And that's super important to like just always remind yourself that you do belong. So.
yeah, no, that's awesome. I just want to share really quickly. So the gym was like a really life-changing thing for me because it was 2017, which was my freshman year here at school, before my mission. So I was going to school and I decided to just take a weightlifting class my second semester because I was like, sure, like why not? I'll try it. And I found that I really liked it. And so like to put this in perspective, I was like 5'10", 5'11"-ish, and I was 120 pounds. So like I was super skinny. And I found out because of going to the gym and through the stuff that I was like under eating, and that's like the reason I was getting like migraines and all of these things that were happening that weren't very fun to deal with. And I started going to the gym, and then on my mission there was a big like workout culture. And so like I was eating more and working out a lot and doing those things, and I started to feel like just a lot better. And I gained a lot of weight, but it was like good weight. And it's like, for me, it took me out of a really unhealthy like place, I guess, like for me in my life. And like it's really radically changed my life. Like I just feel different, feel better about myself. And I think that's why like there's so many benefits, right? And so like, you know, you're talking about people get imposter syndrome, you know, it's really hard to be the super scrawny 120-pound guy at the gym and you can only like do the bar with like 5-pound weights on it, right? When you're doing bench press. Like it doesn't feel great, but the benefits of it, right, come and no one cares, if that makes sense. Like I think
100%.
everyone's been there who's at the gym. Maybe not everyone, but I think most people get it. Like that's the point, is we're going there to work on ourselves, and no one's going to view you as like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if anything, the only time someone has ever come up and like helped with something, it's like, oh, hey, don't do that. You're going to hurt your back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's like they
looking
out
out
of
for
love.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think that, I think that for me, like, I really love the gym because of that for me. The benefits have been super huge in my life. So,
Yeah. So being coordinator of the program, I'm able to oversee all of the coaches and trainers and run them through trainings. And one of the things I always just remind them is like we are given this opportunity to work with people who they think about their bodies every single day and honestly every single moment, in the sense of like when you're walking up the stairs, like in between classes, like that you're thinking about like your energy levels and, oh, are you breathing heavy? And like you think about your body so much, and that can be so vulnerable to recognize that you might need changes. And so like I just remind my coaches and stuff like how like this is so wonderful. We're given the opportunity to help these people who want to be vulnerable with us. And I hope that like each of us and our coaches can be vulnerable with them as well, as like you find that journey. But it's like the gym is such a scary place, and like there is a lot of anxiety with that. My biggest advice personally is like wear a hat, like just like wear a hat so it like focuses on what you're doing and not what anyone else is doing. But yeah, just like you said, is most of the time like people aren't really looking at you. And so like just to like focus on yourself and like you see where you want to be, like how are you going to get there? Because you got to start. And so it's like if you start now and you get over that fear and that anxiety and all of that, you're going to be that much closer to that person you want to be. And so you just got to start right then. So I totally thank you for sharing that story. I really like that.
Yeah, I like the idea that you had of just wearing a hat, so that way you can only see what you're doing and not what other people are doing. So that way you don't feel as self-conscious about yourself and just worrying about what you're doing and not what others maybe
just
think.
a reminder to just like zero in, just like stay focused. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I just add to that, I guess. I know that some people may know this already, but for some, I'm just a voice. But like I have cerebral palsy, and I go to the gym, and so I don't know. The way I think about it is, if I can go to the gym, anybody can go to the gym, right? And it's hard for me sometimes to have that comparison issue, right, where people are lifting so many more weights than I can lift at the time that I'm doing it, and then I realize they're at a completely different stage in their fitness journey than I am, right? And so I just pay attention to what I can do, and I get to see those results. But it's just part of the deal, right?
Yeah, and they talk about in the scriptures, don't walk faster than you can run, something like that. Do you guys remember that
it's like
and you have strength,
then you have strength.
Don't run faster than you have strength too. I think.
So they even teach. I mean, believe it or not, they teach about this in the scriptures too. So
don't overexhaust yourself, right? Yeah, I think it's that classic comparison is the thief of joy, right? Like when we compare ourselves to other people, especially in the gym, like it's a natural thing to do, because I think as much as we want to say like on an individual level, like we're not competitive, I'm not competitive, like you're going to be a little competitive with other people around you. It's just kind of part of being human. And it can be over the littlest things, but I think that understanding, like maybe you'll never get like, there are certain things that maybe you do want, but it might be hard to obtain, or you don't have the time or the money or whatever, right? And it's okay if that makes sense, because what really matters is just you are doing what you need to do. You're putting in the time now so that it benefits you later, right? And I think overall, even if you're like, man, well, if I did go, because like I hear sometimes people say like, well, if I did go, I'd want to go like all in, and then I'd want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was in the 80s. And it's kind of like, well, I think people should just go, and even if that's like a motivating goal is like, oh, I want to look like that, right? I think that even if you don't necessarily like obtain that, it's like, just use it as motivation. I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, be happy with where you are a little bit, right? And I think that like, part of that is when you go to the gym and stuff like that too, like a spiritual side of it is you're kind of showing God like that you are grateful for the body that you have, and you're doing what you can to build it up, no matter what you have whatever your issues are, right? Like with the cerebral palsy, it's like, but it's still great that you're doing that and you're striving to be healthy and you're not letting it get in the way of your life and what you want to do with your life, which is awesome, And so I think that that's a.
And I think a lot of people think that like fitness is one picture, like the ideal picture, like, and maybe that's Sebum or Arnold or anything like that. But fitness is truly just moving your body. And so just getting out there and just moving. So yeah, that's what I would recommend to others.
Yeah, absolutely. We're coming to the end of our time in the episode, but can you plug like Fit for Life and where people can sign up and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, so this is actually the perfect time to sign up for Fit for Life for next semester. So if you're going to be here this spring semester, you can either stop by the Wellness Center, and we have a QR code you can sign up on, or you can just go ahead and like search it on the BYU-I site. And you can sign up for Fit for Life there. And so again, it's $35 for the semester, and you will get a fitness trainer and a wellness coach that you can meet with as many times as you want. And there's going to be prizes as you meet with your coaches. And if you keep an eye on our Instagram page, it's just like BYU-I Wellness. Then we also have giveaways there. And then also if you don't want to do the program, but you just like need a friend or something, come stop by and just be like, hey, I just want a friend. Can I just like meet with a trainer who'd be interested in like weightlifting with me or swimming with me or any of your passions? And like, I can assure you someone will be there for sure. And we will be so excited to work with you because like we love that stuff as well. And so, yeah, just like searching there, and then you will get you will get to pick your fitness trainer and coach because we each have niches. Like, for example, my niche is strength and conditioning. So I work a lot of times with the athletes. And so you get to come to our opening social, which is I believe it's the second week of school. And it's like, just like a time frame, and you can just show up and all of the coaches and trainers are there. And you can be like, oh, so why should I choose you as a coach? And they'll tell you why and what their niche is. And then you get to pick your coaches, and then you start working literally that Monday with them. And so you just get the ball rolling, and then you have all semester to like either be friends or get a workout program or just like learn more or all of the above. So yeah, that's what we offer. Thanks for having me.
You've been listening to The Spot, a production of BYU-Idaho Radio. Today's hosts are me, Christian Nelson,
Chandler Guadagnine,
and Brianna Leal,
with special guest Anna Dorney, the Fit for Life coordinator here at BYU-Idaho. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university, and are solely the opinions of the hosts. This episode was edited by Christian Nelson. Producers were the hosts with supervision by Brandon Isle. Our theme music is Finding Happiness by DJ Quads and The Perpetual Ticking of Time by Artificial Music. To listen to more episodes of The Spot, like and follow us on social media, or you can visit the website byui.edu/radio and click podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, leave a review of the show and leave a comment on what we should talk about next.